Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with another hip hop hypothetical and listening to one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time, Common's I Used to Love Her. One of the songs that helped me fall in love with hip hop, and one of the songs that I think hip hop could not do without. One of the songs, the essential songs that tells the story of hip hop and just tells you the state of hip hop and where it was at the time and where it alluded to be going to. And I think Common is one of the most underrated hip hop artists of all time because he doesn't rap about content that usually is perpetuated throughout hip hop. He talks about more positive things. Of course, he's considered a backpack rapper. He's more a conscience rapper, so he doesn't get the just due because of the lack of ability for his music to play in clubs and play in parties and things like that. His music is not made for that. It's made for mostly the social conscious mind, those who are wanting and like the thought provoking music, and he makes that. But he created one of the most essential hip hop songs in 1994, most thought provoking songs, one of the best metaphor songs ever in 1994. That I Used to Love Her song, and it addressed a lot of issues that he saw in hip hop at the time. Now, the hypothetical me was thinking, what if he released that I Used to Love Her song today, or if he re-released it today? Either one will do, which I hope he does. Release this song, re-releases this song, and talk about what he's saying now, because I would be very intrigued to see what he thinks about the rap games now. I'm pretty sure he's discussed this on interviews and things, but him putting in the music is two different things. So I would definitely want to see him do that. Because we know in that I Used to Love Her song, he didn't pull any punches, and he even gained enemies in that song from mostly NWA and Ice Cube. But he talked about more than that. Of course, he talked about the Afrocentric rap, how it was becoming a thing, how gangster rap was getting a name because of NWA and what it was doing, the drug dealing rap, how it was coming around. And he talked about this on that B promo tour about everybody was talking about their dealers and everybody wanted to become a Tupac. So he talked about that. He talked about the alternative rap, and he even said it in the I Used to Love Her song. You know, she was given a gimmick and she did it to make money like a dummy. That was a part of that whole part. And he even talked about the political rap, like Public Enemy. And he said this in an interview before. He said rap shouldn't doesn't have to be one thing. He doesn't want everybody to be drug dealing rap or everybody to be Public Enemy. We can have more parity. Everybody doesn't have to veer to one side. And he felt like it was going towards a lot towards the gangster rap, and hip hop was changing as he knew it, from what he loved it for. That's why he made it a metaphor for a woman, because he was saying that he used to love her, but now he doesn't recognize her anymore because the game has changed. So um, it was a very good song that I always caught, and then I didn't pick up on the first time I heard it, but when I caught it, it stuck with me. Similar to Kanye's Homecoming, when he compared Chicago and talked about how Chicago changed from when he knew it. So it inspired different artists, especially an artist that grew up in the same town as him. But the issues in rap climate today, what would he talk about? So there is a lot from 1994, of course, but just talking about today's climate, things that I believe he would discuss. So the first thing, not first thing, but one of the things I think he would discuss in today's climate that he would address in I Used to Love Her today would be, uh, is the instead of the drug dealing rap, the usage rap. Because we know the usage rap is heavy today. Artists talking about what they use, and it's a huge issue, especially for into today's society. So I know that would be one thing that he would talk about, because it would be the flip side of what he talked about in 1994's I Used to Love Her. But 2025's version would be the opposite of the dealing rap. It would be the usage rap. I think he would discuss the attack on hip hop and how hip hop is used to as a reasoning or some kind of justification for crimes today, and how people relate music and revert it back to what people are listening to. because I know he's a big proponent in social issues and things like that. So I know he sees a lot of articles about things like that, and he has opinions on that because he would be very passionate about how hip hop is blamed for a lot of things in society. When other music and other avenues and other arts like movies and TV shows perpetuate these same things, but somehow hip hop takes the blame for it. So I know that would be a huge point of contention that he would talk about. Also, the attacks from like political and social perspectives, like your Bill O'Reillys, who always attacks hip hop, even one of our own Oprah, who dislikes hip hop. He's a friend of Oprah, so I don't think he would discuss Oprah in that matter. But I know he would talk about political sources that blame hip hop for things and kind of give hip hop a bad name when other music does it as well. I think he would address how podcast rappers have come to the podcast game. You got a lot of rappers that turn to podcasts, like Fat Joe and Jada Kiss and Joe Budden and Memphis Bleak has a podcast now. So there's a lot of different artists that have podcasts. So I know he would talk about that and how it turned to media because of the money's not there, or because it's not as lucrative anymore, not just financially, but socially as well. You don't get a lot of respect for being a hip hop artist as you used to back when Tupac was doing it, or even in the early 2000s. Unless you're like Eminem or somebody who can cross over like that, you really don't get a lot of respect for being a hip hop artist. It's more of considered a bad thing now for some reason. And I think Common would also talk about, especially him being from Chicago, talk about the drill rap and how it changed the game, or how it made uh, the perception of hip hop look. Because we know drill rap is seen as very hardcore, seen as very gangster. It's a whole nother level of gangster, especially with the young kids today. So I know he would address that in some way, especially with a lot of drill rappers actually being from his city. The Chief Keefs and the um, any other artists that they have, Chief Keefs, the G Herbos, the Lil Durks, he would definitely be talking about that. So I know he would definitely talk about how a lot of artists now are getting indicted, or how the criminal justice system treats the rappers and using their lyrics against them. So I know he would definitely address that as well. Um, I know he would talk about AI as well, because he did a Windows commercial a few years back, maybe even 10 years back. I don't think it's been that long, maybe 5 years. And he talked about AI and how it's used, and how it exists for Windows, the computer company. So I know he would talk about AI and how it was used to create this fictional character for one of the labels. Before the backlash came, they got rid of the character, but he would definitely address AI because it's a big issue, not only in rap but in just society in general. In general, um, and then I think, lastly, I think he would address hip hop being used as a stepping stone, because we know those artists like a Post Malone, artists like Jelly Roll, even Drake have used hip hop as a vehicle for other things, just to become commercially successful, and they didn't really do it for the love of the art. Artists, especially like Post Malone, it was very difficult to see because he wasn't. He came out with a hip hop song, and the first album was mostly hip hop, but then he just totally went left. He went to pop, and then he went to country, and then now he's all over the place, just to make a buck. But he used hip hop in a bad way. So I'm pretty sure Common would address that and have some kind of metaphor that would just be classic. But I would definitely love to see a re-release of Common's Used to Love Her from the 1994 classic, and see what he would address today. But those are the things that I think he would address. But tell me the things that you think Common would address in today's society on a I Used to Love Her 2025 mix. And until next time, I'll see you next time.